Good morning, guys. So welcome back. Oh, that's a big spider web. Probably doesn't show up on here against the trees. Welcome back. Another video. I'm going to be working on starting to build the deck or the lanai. So that's going to be the focus of this video. Let me get in the Ohana and I'll show some of the progress since the last video. All right, in the Ohana, I've been working on some little things, mudding, stuff like that. As you can see, I have the beams are all fully primed now. As far as the bathroom, Jose came again last week and he got all the tile up on the walls, which I still haven't broken off all of the spacers yet. So these things get pulled out. I can't do this one-handed. Anyway, they get pulled out, and then these tabs, you just tap them with a mallet and snap them off. And you do that on all of them to clear it out. So both walls are now done. As you can see, I also started the mudding here in the bathroom. I did the first coat. So this will be sanded and then a second coat applied and possibly a third. I don't know, we'll see. I'm trying to find someone to actually finish the mudding for me because it's just something that I don't have any interest in. Another thing that I did was I framed this out. Let me back up. So I framed this out. I used green board because that was the drywall I had left. So basically this is going to be the pocket where the fridge is going to go. I think I've explained this before. This area is going to be storage, which I'll end up building something in there, whether it's cabinets or drawers or whatever it's going to be. I wanted to isolate this area though, because once we start doing the tile flooring, I don't want the tile flooring to go into here just because that's going to be basically underneath, you know, storage cabinets or whatever. And I don't know, I kind of thought about if I wanted to do the tile or not do the tile. But if I tried to go in there and frame after the tile was in, then I would have to drill through the tile to be able to secure the framing. It would just be more work. Then I have the chance of breaking the tile. So I put that in. We can tile around it after that. I don't think much else happened in the kitchen. I got rid of a bunch of garbage. So this whole corner was full of like drywall scraps and just boxes and stuff. So threw a bunch of that stuff away. Head up here, creaky stairs. I got this painted, I got trim. Oh, that was another thing I didn't show downstairs, but I got a bunch of the trim pieces up. All the beams up here are primed. Continued doing mudding in the bedroom, which I can't remember if I showed that in the last video or not. I think I did. And then up here, I haven't really done anything else. Additional caulking, trim. Oh, I think I added some trim pieces in here. Oh, just one trim piece. I may have even showed that in the last video, I don't remember. So, I think one of the things that I decided is that these edges I'm going to end up just caulking. So this edge, before I think I had talked about doing a trim piece there, and I'm just going to caulk it now because I want it to be cleaner looking. Same with this edge. You can see I started caulking it. I have to do some additional caulking because some of the gaps were big and I didn't want to just glob tons of caulking in there. So I kind of did one pass. I let it, you know, harden, and then I'll do another pass. So yeah, that's the progress of what happened since the last video. So down here, There's a trim piece that goes along there that got nailed in and caulked. Along that wall over there is caulked and painted now. And then I also put the trim up here. Basically it's like crown molding, I guess, that goes from the beam to the tongue and groove ceiling, because there was sort of a little bit of a gap there. So that all got closed up. And then yeah, just additional painting. This piece here, I will get the trim on here once I get the posts and beams for the lanai put in, and then I can close up these drywall areas permanently. So yeah, let's head outside. So I did some layout out here. I know this is on the carport and I'm not gonna be working on this area right now, but you can see the orange markings on the ground. I'm basically trying to figure out where I want to put my piers, which will hold the posts, that'll hold the beam, that'll connect rafters. That's going to be probably its own video. And then over here I have, I went to Puna Rock yesterday and I picked up some aggregate. This is basically a mix for concrete so that you can make your own concrete, and then you just buy the Hawaiian cement, which is essentially Portland cement. You mix the two together and then you get concrete. So this doesn't look like it's very big, but that's actually almost 2 tons of aggregate. So what I'm going to be doing in this video, I'm going to be forming this up here and pouring the approach sidewalk. So it's going to be basically 4 feet, I think, or maybe, I don't know if I'm going to do it 3 or 4 feet, probably 4 feet. And then it's going to go from the corner here, I think, to the corner there. So basically where this pier is, it's just going to match that. Because over here, once I get the deck built and I do the stairs are going to start here and then they will go down to there. And I'm pretty sure I got to take some measurements, but I don't think that the landing pad is going to need to go past that. But once I do my measurements, I'll find out for sure. And then if I need to go a little bit further, it'll go a little bit further. And then out here, you can see my orange markings here, one over there, one over here. That's basically the 12-foot mark from the Ohana out, which is what the size of the deck is going to be. So out here, I'm going to be pouring some piers, and I have these big concrete tubes, which I'll show in the video in a few minutes. And I'm basically going to cut those to size, come out here, level them, place them. I'll do a string line across, and then I will basically fill those. I also have to do some rebar, build some little, cages that will go inside the piers, and then also get the bracket for the 6x6 posts that will be going in. So I got to get all that stuff set up. I got to get this form built and then start mixing some concrete and pouring. So yeah, let me head up to the shop. All right, so I am up in the office, or what will someday be my office in the shop. I have these tubes. So I got these tubes from HPM, which is the hardware store, was the original hardware store, I guess, in Hawaii before like Home Depot came here. They've been around for 100 years or more than 100 years. In Shipment Industrial Park, though, they have the facility where they make the roofing, and which is where I buy my roofing for everything that I've built. These are the tubes that the metal comes on, and they just give these away. So they work the same as sonotubes, but they're free. The only difference with these is you have to keep them dry until you're ready to use them. So if you set them up outside and they get rained on, then it's cardboard, so it's gonna collapse. But as long as you keep it dry and then pour your concrete in, and then the concrete will set up by the time it gets saturated, and then you're good. And these are roughly about 21 inches across, so it makes for a nice big solid footing. So I'm going to end up cutting these, I think, about 16 to 18 inches tall, and then that's going to be my footing for the deck, and then also for the lanai, the deck and also the carport eventually. Right now I'm just focusing on the deck though. So I'm going to need 3 of these because I'm going to have 3 6x6s, which will be the posts away from the ohana. So I got to get these cut up. Back up in the shop, I'm getting ready to mark these and cut these. And basically all I did is I took a piece of scrap and I cut it to 16 inches. I taped a Sharpie on there, and then all I'm going to do is basically just hold this flush with the top and walk around it and mark the line, and then I can cut it. All right, back down at the ohana. I actually have water down here now. All I did was I hooked a hose to the house. So I mounted a hose bib here so that I could have water. And then on the back side, I mounted another hose bib. So I basically just ran a hose from the house down to this hose bib. And right now there's just one piece of PEX basically going from this hose bib to that hose bib. There's no water into the front again. You can see I'm starting to work on the formwork for the landing for the stairs. This is essentially 8 feet long, so it's going to match the pier, which is 8 feet. And then it's 42 inches, which is 3.5 feet. I was going to go 4 feet, but then that seemed kind of big, so I'm doing 3.5 feet for the landing. I have aggregate here, which is this is just a mix. I think I mentioned that before. I picked up from Puna Rock. I have the mixer. What I need to do now is I have to build some rebar cages. So this is my mounting bracket for the 6x6 post. And as you can see, there's a hole on the side there. So there will be a piece of rebar that runs through that. And then from that, I'm going to build basically like 2 squares. And then the 2 squares will be connected on the corners. And one square will hang down a little bit. And then the other square will hang down further. And then that will go into, in the concrete. So when I get ready to pour this, I'll put some concrete in the bottom, and then I'll set this in there with the cage and everything, and then I'll start filling concrete around it. Of course, these are not even in place yet. They're not leveled. They're not set up, so I have to do all that still. All right, that's all the lumber for the deck. So bringing this up to the shop, and then I'm going to be priming it up in the shop, and then I'll take it down as I need it on the Ohana. All right, so I have this pretty much formed up. I have the rebar in there. I still have to tie it together everywhere where it crosses. But I'm going to go ahead and pour this now, get it done. All right, well, that sucked. So this is in. I'm just letting it set up a little. I still gotta, of course, work on the edges, work on the surface. The last batch or two that I did a little too wet, so now it's very wet. So I'm gonna have to let this sit for a little while and then work on it. And as far as these, I started bending up the rebar to get the little cages made, but these will get pulled back inside tonight, and then I'll work on that tomorrow. I can't leave these cardboard pieces out because they're just cardboard. There's no protection on them at all, so if it rains, they'll just turn to mush. So anyway, I'm going to start on that tomorrow. All right, this slab is getting pretty close. I've edged it up a little bit, did a little bit of smoothing. But while I was waiting for this to set up, I got all my pieces cut. So for the 3 piers, that's the cross piece that's going to go into the bracket. And then my 4 verticals for the 4 corners, and then 2 squares. So this will all get tied up tomorrow. And then, of course, I moved the tubes inside because I don't want them to get wet. So yeah, tomorrow this is going to be what I'm going to be working on. All right, so back down at the Ohana this morning. I ran into town. I got all the forms stripped off of this landing slab. So it's basically cured up. It's totally hard. It'll turn lighter over time as the concrete fully cures. I picked up 16 bags of Quickcrete. For each of these piers, it's going to take about 5 bags, a little over 5. So you can see I have my setup out here again. Once again, the tubes have not been placed yet. I just got my batter boards up. So a batter board basically is something that you set up outside of whatever it is you're trying to frame. So in this case, I set it up outside of my piers. This is basically going to be the center line. The only thing that really matters on this is that is where I'm going to line up the bracket. So the 6x6 brackets, the outside of the bracket will be touching this string basically all the way down, and that's how I'll know that I have this in line. The piers themselves, as far as having them centered, it doesn't have to be super precise because, you know, there's a lot of space there for a 6x6 bracket to sit on. So I'm going to get them, you know, eyeball centered. That's all I'm really worried about. And also, as far as level, I will level out the tube. So I'll dig out a little bit of the rock, set it in there, get it leveled out and in the right spot. They don't really matter in this case if they're level to each other. They're going to be close, but I doubt that if you put a laser on it, they're going to be exact. That doesn't really matter because the post is going all the way up to the roof line. So basically the beams for the lanai will tie into these wherever they need to tie into to be plumb. So that's why these don't really matter as far as where they are. And then I also got the first brackets put on. So you can see the one here, the one down there at the end of the house. I'm going to use those to give me solid measuring points so that I can get my square and basically use, you know, like the Pythagorean theorem to measure from here out to my string line and then measure from there. And then I can get an exact point of where this should be the corner of my bracket. And then from there, I'll place the tube, place the bracket, and do everything. And then same on that side. So the numbers should be the same going this way as they are coming this way. And then that's how you get square. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to start tying up these cages right now and get those set up. Then I'll get these in place. And from that point, once I get them set into the tubes, it's just going to be mixing concrete and dumping it in. So let's go. All right, so I got these all measured out. If you can see the little black line there, the one on the left is actually where my mark is. The tubes are in place and they're all leveled. So they're ready to go. That one, if you can see, is level. You see the bubble. And then I'm working on my first cage here, which I just finished. So that's basically the cage that will get dropped in. I'm gonna screw in some wood pieces on the side of here for supports to screw the bracket into so that it hangs. And then from there, it's just starting to mix concrete and fill it. All right, I think I'm ready. I got the first batch of cement going. I got all this stuff built and installed. I decided to just run a piece underneath, and then as it gets full, I'll pull that out and then I'll push this down into place. And then I can do my final alignment as far as this edge has to line up with that line and then this part of the bracket against the string. So these are all ready. I'm gonna start filling them. All right, that's done. Cut the time lapse a little short, but you get the idea. So everything's lined up on the string line. And then the corner is lined up with that second dot. This one, the dot is just in the middle of the panel or of the bracket. And then this one, same thing. Corner is lined up with the dot. So should be good. Close enough for Puna. Just kidding. That's what my friend George used to say. So tomorrow I'll be working on the prepping all of the posts and the beams and get this thing going. Coqui frogs. Doing some early morning work. So I have my laser set up here. Now that I have these brackets in place and the piers, and I have the brackets on the wall, basically what I'm doing is I'm lining the laser up on the edge of the bracket and on the edge of this bracket, and then that's going to give me my line up here to where the beam is going to go across. So I just got to mark that, move over to here and do the same thing, and then mark that up there. So back down at the Ohana, it's raining of course, so I'm not going to be working on installing these posts and beams, but I did take down the string line and batter boards, and I pulled the cardboard off. So according to the concrete calculator, these should be about 430 pounds each for the concrete, and then you add in the rebar and the bracket and all that, so it might be close to 450 pounds each. So that's pretty good. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. So I'm going to focus on inside doing trim and caulking and paint and stuff, and if it clears up later I'll go back to the deck. So when I was explaining to my wife what I was going to build for the deck, this is the little diagram that I drew, or a quick sketch I guess. So that's going to be all the posts and then the beams, and then in the middle is where the floor joists will go across. Stairs over there on the left. But that was basically what I'm building once the weather's better. And then this was, she was asking how I was going to do the roof, and that's how I'm going to do the roof, if that makes sense. All right, early morning. I think it's about 6:30 or 7. I got all these 6x6s set up here outside my shop, getting ready to prime them. So I'll run the router along the edges and do just like a round over, just to make them a little cleaner looking, I guess. And then start applying primer to these, and I want to get at least 2 coats of primer on here, and then I can go start installing them. But it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. There's like not a cloud in the sky. It's a bunch of complaining chickens because I haven't fed them yet. All right, let me get back to work. What are you doing? All right, so I got these painted. It's been a few days. I went to Kona for a couple days to work, and then we had a day or two that it was raining. So the first day I got the 3 sides, basically the side, top, and side of each one done, and the 2 ends, of course, with 2 coats. Then I had to wait until it wasn't raining and I was home, and then basically flipped them over and got the last side done. So this has 2 full coats all the way around, so now I just got to get these down to the Ohana. Okay, so ended up the easiest way to get these down here was just carry them one by one. I was going to put them all on the roof rack of my FJ and drive them down, but sliding them on there, sliding them off, it would have messed up the primer. Plus just lifting them up there is not easy anyway. These things are not super heavy, but they're probably 80 to 100 pounds, I guess. 16-foot 6x6s. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to run a brace from this pier over to that post as I set it up. Once I get it plumb, which is level, basically all directions, that's called plumb. Then I'm going to get this beam cut, get the bracket mounted, get that beam mounted. Then that piece will tie in. Then I'm going to move to the next one. I'll stand this one up, get it plumb, brace it to the previous one. Then I'll get that beam put in, and then just work my way around until I'm all the way over to here. My goal for today is to get all 3 of these up, and of course all of the beams on, so that I can come back tonight with my laser and I can set it up to basically cut the tops of these off. So my markings that I did where it will go through the wall of the Ohana, I'll basically cut a hole in there, find out where the level is on the inside, which this one here I think is going to be slightly higher than this one, because when I transitioned to the 2x6 wall, there was another wall on top of here, so there's essentially another plate. So it'll end up being 1.5 inches, which I will just use, you know, a piece of 2x4 on here to space this one up so that it's all level. But anyway, I'm going to use my laser to get all that done. So let me just get to work. Okay, so that went up pretty easy, pretty uneventful. All of the screws are in the bottom there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a measurement from here out to the post. And then I'll go up to the shop and I'll cut my beam and bring it down. And then I'll get the bracket mounted, get the beam installed, and then get everything secured in. And as simple as that. So that beam is fully tied in now. It's not painted, but I didn't paint these because they're low to the ground and they're easy to paint in place. And I'd have to paint over the brackets anyway. So I painted all the stuff that's going to be high, or primed it. I haven't painted it yet, I should say. Just because this will be easy. So once I get them all installed, then I will put a couple coats of primer on it as well, so that it'll be good. So now it's just rinse and repeat and continue on. And there we go. So temporary stairs got moved, of course, still temporary. They're a little bit more stable now than they were though over there. So everything is anchored in. I'm getting ready to paint these since it's relatively sunny right now. I mean, it's the afternoon. I think it's like 2:30 maybe, so I still got time. Get these all painted, couple coats, and then I can start doing the stringers on the inside. So the stringers won't be painted, but I do want to paint these beams all the way around, inside and out. Right now is an opportune time, so let me get to work. All right, so I have 2 coats of primer on all of the beams, and I have my laser set up there, if you can see that. And I cut the hole out for the 6x6 to access, and then I lined up my laser with the bottom of that hole. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the ladder and I'm going to go, it's just, I think it's like 4:30, maybe almost 5, so it's just starting to get a little darker. So I might have to actually wait so that I can see the laser all the way across these. I'm going to mark these posts with where the laser mark is, so that I can come out in the morning and cut those off. And then once I cut those off, I can place my top beams coming through the wall, connecting across the 3 posts, and then back into the wall over here. Yeah. All right, everything's marked. See the lines up there. And then on the house side, have the cutouts, and then this cutout. I just left the pieces in there because I don't want to come out in the morning and have a bird's nest in there. So be back tomorrow, cut off these posts, and then start putting in the upper beams. All right, a beautiful morning, and these are now done, all cut down. And I brought out the other 3 6x6s, which are going to be my top beams. And I got this opened up. So basically what I did is I took a 4x4 and I cut it, I measured the cutout here, the height of the cutout, and then I ripped the 4x4 to the same size and then screwed it in place so that when that beam comes through the wall, sit right on here. It'll get anchored down from the top with 2 big headlocks, and then run out there to the post. Whew. So not the safest thing to do by yourself, but it's up there. And I noticed that there's a bit of a twist in this post. it's twisted, I guess clockwise. So yeah, it's kind of hard to not have that sometimes with dimensional lumber, especially 16-foot stuff. So anyway, I'm going to continue on, and that's what the inside looks like. So basically I just flushed the end of that 6x6 to the wall framing and then anchored in. All right, so I got this beam up and it has a bow in it going the wrong way. So there's a bow, I guess, going down. So if you can see up there, I mean, that's not all the way in the corner, but it's probably 3/4 of an inch high. So what I'm gonna have to do to counteract that is probably take 3/8 off of this post to drop it down. And then when I'm standing here, which when I put this beam up, I'm like, it looks a little off. And then I was here standing and I'm looking, and this beam is like right on this line of the siding, and then I go up and that that beam is over there. So I'm like, that's way off. So I'm gonna have to basically cut that area out and then slide that over. I haven't attached it yet, so it's fine. But yeah, I guess paying attention. All right, so that is fixed. These are all anchored in. One headlock on each of them so far. I'm gonna add a second one on there. And then I also have the Simpson strapping hardware. So it's like the big T, and then it has like 6 bolts, and then I have the corner ones as well. So there'll be a corner on the outside, and then there's a piece that fits in here too. This is fixed. I still gotta cut a piece to patch that hole. This is anchored in as well. So now I'm on to the last one to get the hole fully cut out, and then get that beam cut and get it up. All right, so I've fixed my mess up there, patched it, caulked everything. So these upper beams are all done now. Everything is anchored in and caulked in. The only thing left is they will get those fasteners on top. I'm just waiting on the nuts for it because they were out of stock at Lowe's. So I just got the plates and the screws. So now I can get started on doing the floor joists. Yes. And if you're curious what it looks like on the inside, so you can see my 2 anchors in there. So those are 10-inch headlocks. And then over there, you can't see the anchors, but they're in there. But you can see the 6x6 there. Yep. So now those panels can be closed up. This middle one still is not done because I have to do the ridge beam, which won't be in this video, but it'll be happening soon. All right, so I'm getting my hangers installed and my layout done. I have the first 2x12 installed. And then you can see my marks along here, every 16 inches. Since I'm running Trex, I'm gonna have to add an additional one here at the end, because when you have Trex, where the Trex ends at, you need to have a support within, I think it's 2 inches of the end, something like that. Otherwise it will flex. So I'll have to add in an extra one that'll be here, as close as I can get it to this bracket. Because I'm running my Trex perpendicular to the Ohana. I like doing that so there's no seams. It's the same way if any of you watched my Lanai build on the house, same way I did the house up there. So I'm basically duplicating that. Same process down here. Only difference is I'm running 2x12s up there. I think I did 2x8s because I had sections up there, where this is a full span, 16-foot 2x12. So I'm going to continue on and get all these installed. Whew. Okay, so that's the day. I'm gonna call it a day. So I got all of the floor joists in. That took a lot, and then showed that earlier. So today's Saturday, so tomorrow we have the market. Monday I'll be back out working on this. I have to put in the blocking and then cover this with, 'Joist tape, and then I can start putting the decking down. All right. So I think I'm going to just end this video. I was hoping to get into the, installing the decking during this video, but getting the blocking in is as far as I got. I just ran to town and I got the joist tape so I can put that on now. But then I realized I need to start doing the layout for the railings, which means I have to add in, 4x4 posts in the middle of each of these sections. And I kind of need to do that before I can do my picture frame for the decking. So typically when you do Trex decking, you run what's called a picture frame. So you have a piece that goes all the way around the edge, like a picture frame, and then your deck pieces run inside of that. So the reason why is because when I have the 4x4 post, like between these two posts back here, there's going to be a 4x4 post sticking up. The Trex, the picture frame is going to have to slide down over that 4x4 before I secure it to the deck. So I need to get that laid out and figured out first. And it's Monday today. I'm going to be working in Kona tomorrow and Wednesday, and then Thursday I'm helping on a concrete job, and I wanted to have this video ready for Friday, so I think that's all I'm going to get done for the video. And plus this video is like already 35 plus minutes, so I think that's plenty long since the average watch time is like 5 minutes. So, but nobody's going to see that anyway because nobody watches till the end of the video. So anyway, I'm going to end this video, and I'll just pick up and then show finishing the deck on the next video. And then once the deck is done, I'll be back inside, working on the interior, getting the drywall and all that stuff finished up. So, but yeah, it's getting very close now. But as always, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video. Aloha.